are watching SCAC Baseball Media Days, and joining us today from San Antonio, Texas, it is the defending SCAC champions, the Trinity University Tigers, head coach Tim Scannell and senior shortstop Christian Muscarello. And gentlemen, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, James.
Thank you. Coach Scannell, we'll start with you. You enter your 16th season. You are the dean of SCAC baseball, if you will. You've been at Trinity, as we said, 16 years, have built quite a program. Just tell me what you've been able to build here at Trinity University and just kind of your goals and expectations going into the new year.
I think it starts with Trinity University. I think we're really lucky to be here. I came down here 18 years ago with Pete Hughes, who's now the head coach at the University of Oklahoma. The first thing we saw when we got here is this place should be a winning program. And basically, we've just tried to follow suit with the other athletic programs here. So when you're in a great city like San Antonio, when you have a top-notch academic school like Trinity, when you're able to recruit a great athletic state like Texas, and then the university encourages you to recruit outside of the state like California, Arizona, and a bunch of places in between, this place should be a winning program. So I don't think we've really done anything other than we have good fortune to work at a great university.
Tell me a little bit about preseason thus far. What have you seen so far from the 2014 team throughout practices as you get ready for opening day here pretty soon?
Well, this is going to be a completely different team than last year. I kind of chuckle at Division III and rankings and whatnot and see us rank 5 in the country in some polls, and we don't even know who we're going to throw opening weekend. So, we got a lot of work in front of us. I'm excited for this team. I'm unbelievably thankful and appreciative of last year's team. The best senior class I've ever had exited last year, and that group took us to 4 straight regionals. And although they were very talented, it was their attitude, it was their daily work approach, it was their competitive spirit, it was their pride in the program that really put these results on the table in terms of going to 4 straight regionals. This team has a chance to be good, but honestly, everything starts with pitching, and we have very few ideas of who's going to be strong on the mound. We know that Zach Spears is back, and he's an emerging right-handed pitcher, had a great year for us last year, and we also know that an unbelievably talented arm in Kyle Bogies is back, and it looks like he's hitting stride in terms of being a complete pitcher and a strike thrower. But we're going to be new at third, we're going to be new at first, we're going to be new at DH, we're going to be new in right field. And we're going to be new behind the dish with Chris Bianchi. He got playing time. He's very good. I'm looking forward to seeing the emergence of him as a leader and a true game caller. But his experience is not what Kelly's was the past 2 years. So we got a lot of question marks. We're excited. Practices have gone well. I think with the leadership of Christian and some other seniors, this team is absolutely working up to par with any team we've had in the past 4 years.
Christian, I'll come to you as you hear your coach talk. 4 straight regionals, as you just mentioned. You've been a part of 3 of those, 2 straight regional finals as well. Just talk to me a little bit what it's going to take for this team to possibly even get back to a regional and maybe even push through the regional.
Well, first off, just to get back to the regional, you got to play well all year round. And then come playoff time, hopefully we'll win the SCAC championship again, and that'll give us an automatic berth. And then going into a regional, the last 2 years, they've kind of been different for us. 2 years ago, we kind of ran out of pitching. We felt like we went with Ben Klemesh on 2 days rest, and he just kind of ran out of gas. And so just not having a full depth of pitching staff, that kind of hurt us. And then last year, our pitching really carried us through the regional, and we just didn't hit the ball the way we were capable of. So this year, if we get to a regional, as we expect to, it's going to have to be a full team hitting and pitching. Because if you don't have one, it's going to be tough to get through. And so our goal is to get to the regional again, hopefully break through this year and get to a World Series and see what happens from there.
Coach Scannell, I'll come back to you. Christian is one of the seniors on the team. Tell me a little bit about the senior class, especially with a new team, as you've mentioned, as compared to past years. How important is this senior class going to be for Trinity's success?
Well, I think it's going to be really important. Obviously, we've got Christian as a senior. We've got Pat Hirschberg as a senior. I mentioned Chris Bianchi as a senior. We've got Kyle Book as a senior. And there's some other guys as well. But really, the more important class becomes the sophomore class. The sophomore class is a class where, 2 or 3 guys are going to have opportunities to emerge and hopefully be everyday players. But we do have depth in terms of senior leadership, and we got depth potentially off the bench or spot starters in great senior competitors in Ryan Schweers and Jules Kronk. So it's just a team that is a long way away from figuring out where the pieces are going to fall, and the season's obviously fast approaching.
Christian, I'll turn back to you with your coach mentioning that, how important that sophomore class is. Just tell me how important it is for you as one of the seniors to continue to be one of the leaders you have been the past couple of years for this team's success.
Well, I think for me, in years past, I've kind of led more by example. I'm not the loudest guy in the field. And so being a senior and losing that big senior class last year, it's kind of been more important for me to be more vocal in what I'm doing. And that's something I'm still getting better at every day. I'm still not 100% comfortable being vocal at all times. As I said, I've always led by example, so that's something that's a lot more important for me this year and for all the seniors, is we have to be more vocal than we have been in years past, especially with such a young team. Last year we had a lot of seniors, whereas this year, a lot of our key players will be the younger guys. So just leading by example, but also being vocal and helping them, that will be a lot more important this year.
Coach Scannell, you're watching SCAC Baseball Media Days with head coach Tim Scannell of Trinity University and senior shortstop Christian Muscarello. Coach Scannell, I'll come back to you as we look at the positions. You talked about it a little bit earlier with the pitching and catching, a lot of new faces, and still trying to figure out who's going to be in your rotation. Just tell me a little bit, what have you seen so far throughout the preseason from your pitchers and catchers?
Well, I think, we started January 20th, so we're really on day 9 with a few rain days and cold weather days. I guess that's the difficulty in where we're at right now, is we really don't know. Christian and I actually had a conversation in terms of our pitching and, who he thinks looks good and, the other coaches. And so it's really early. What I do like is I like the work ethic. What I do like is I like the fact that this team has a belief in itself. But I think the way this thing plays out is that this team is going to play its games and hopefully grow and get better as the season goes along. Whereas, say, last year's team, we felt we were pretty good coming out of the gate, and we wanted to maintain and grow during the year. This year, I think there's going to be a bigger growth curve, so I can see some bumps and some hiccups. But we're hoping that come SCAC tournament time, we're a team that's peaking and can fight to win a conference championship.
Christian, I'll come back to you as the shortstop on the team. Tell me a little bit about the infield and what you've seen so far from your perspective from the team's infield.
Well, obviously me returning and then Connor Moore returning at second base, that's a pretty solid combo up the middle. And then losing this year, we lost Kevin Frankie from third last year, and a mixture of John Hall and William Donnan at first. So Carter McEachern, he's really been taking over third base for us. He looks a lot more comfortable there this year than he did last year. So hopefully he can provide the defense and the offense that we're looking for. And then, at first base, there's a couple of guys. Nick Jarrett, he's looking pretty good over there. So hopefully those guys can just fill the spots that we lost last year with our senior leadership, and hopefully we can move on this year.
Coach Scannell, finally we'll move into the outfield. Tell me what you've seen from your outfielders.
Well, I think, I agree with Christian. I think the strength of this team is going to be our middle infield play. They're both very, very good defenders. And I think that as far as outfield goes, we got Pat Hirschberg back, and he's a tremendous athlete, plays a great center field. But Pat was he's in graduate school, and he's going to be slow to get up and running. So, I don't think Pat's going to come back in mid-season form, so to say, early. It's going to take him a little bit. We had Jeremy Wolf, a sophomore left fielder, who's really starting to find his stroke. I think he's a tremendous talent. We hope for a really big year out of him and a consistent year. And then we really have 3 or 4 guys that are really great athletes that we hope we can figure out who can win down the job in right field. Austin Singer, Brody Femmel, Ryan Schweers, and Andrew Waters, to name a few guys in the mix. They're athletic, they can run, they have good throwing arms. But the big thing with us is every day we scrimmage, and it's in that scrimmage format that we try and find guys that can play the game live and be consistent, because without consistency, you just can't be a winning program.
Gentlemen, we'll get you out on this final question. Christian, we'll get your thoughts first, and Coach Scannell, we'll let you take it over from there. For Trinity University to be successful in 2014, what are going to be some of the keys to success?
I think, every year pitching is really going to carry your team, especially come playoff time, come regional. You really want a deep pitching staff. And right now we have, I feel, a lot of depth in our pitching rotation, but a lot of guys that haven't proven themselves. So moving forward throughout the year, hopefully we'll have some guys emerge. And moving into the end of the season, come playoff time, we'll have, a staff that we can really trust. And then come playoffs, hopefully we'll have our full game, offense and defense. So I think, the big key is really always going to be pitching, and hopefully our pitching will peak at the right time this year.
And Coach Scannell?
Yeah, and I agree with Christian. It's always pitching, and when you think your pitching's good enough, you need more. We found that out last year late in the tournament. If we could have had even better pitching at the end, maybe we go over the hump. I think the key to me is that this team understands that there's an expectation level put on them by outside people with rankings and kind of things that are out of their control that really aren't accurate. And I think that, in my opinion, if this team cannot believe any hype about them and have a workman's approach to it and look to get better and look to grow its chemistry and its tightness in terms of winning spirit and having each other's back, then I think this team has a chance to emerge and be a strong team in the end. But again, I go to the fact that we're brand new at some key positions, and pitching-wise, we're unbelievably green. So having said that, if we all agree that pitching's the key, we have a long way to go to be a championship team.
You have been watching SCAC Baseball Media Days here with the Trinity University Tigers head coach Tim Scannell and senior shortstop Christian Muscarello. Gentlemen, thank you again for taking the time out today to join us and discuss the upcoming season, and we wish you good luck in 2014.
Thanks, James. Take care.
The Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, a conference of good sports.